A controversial new ad from the Trump campaign rolled out this week, depicting a montage of all the people the former president says he'll kill if he's elected in November. The largely silent commercial, which openly promises the murder of various political rivals, celebrities, and even a handful of ordinary citizens, is already airing in battleground states and has become one of the largest ad buys and harshest attack ads of the entire cycle.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
For more reaction, I'm joined now by former Republican political strategist Mark Palmer. Mark, what kind of message is the Trump campaign trying to send here?
I think Trump is putting forward a clear and forceful vision of vengeful bloodshed, decapitating Pete Buttigieg on day one, ending the lives of Kim Kardashian, Jake Tapper, the Golden State Warriors. This is the kind of thing that has proven to be successful with firing up his base, and the campaign believes it's a winning message.
The ad is already getting mixed reactions. Elon Musk posted a clip of the ad on X saying that it projects strength and that it's a master political maneuver. But the Harris campaign put out a statement calling the spot desperate. Quote, "They're struggling to find anything that sticks against Vice President Harris, so they're resorting to the same old slaughter and carnage."
And that's expected coming from Kamala. But I think it's worth pointing out that the ad is not entirely partisan. Don Jr. appears in there several times, and there are rumors J.D. Vance might show up in the next ad. Those are both deaths that poll extremely well across party lines.
Even so, these are some very bold promises, not just in the commercial, but also in a series of print ads and billboards across swing states, Pennsylvania and Michigan. How much control does a president actually have over who lives and dies?
He believes there's a lot he can do, a lot of levers he can pull from the White House in order to murder these people. But at the end of the day, is this just Trump being Trump? Or is he actually planning on literally killing all these people? Maybe. Maybe he is. I don't know.
We'll just have to wait and see. Thanks for joining me, Mark. As someone who is featured prominently in the ad, I'll be keeping a close eye on this story as it develops.
All right. That's a good way to start off our 2-year hiatus of the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Today, working in exchange for Greg. Basically, Greg is our Joe Biden. He's too old and ill to participate today, so we got somebody younger and more good-looking to replace him. And once again, it was done involuntarily on Brendan's part in terms of the person that we chose. So that welcome, Heron, for all of these. For full disclosure, Heron is my oldest son, so he understands the way our brains work. Welcome to the next episode of the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Our newest client is Premature Ejaculection. This is a special Election Day episode, and we'll be interspersing many ads of all different kinds before this is all over with. Things that came from the past as well. So we're going to have a combination of political ads and regular ads that are all fake, every last one of them. So just to get that disclaimer out of the way, we don't stand behind anything that we do.
Behold, trapped in a hellscape of their own invention, socially unaware old white men bound by the pretense of being fake lawyers yet knowing no law, no exquisite Latin terminology, they are inexplicably compelled to quibble over minutia, squabble over triflings, and bicker like those who value their backyards far too highly without even knowing the difference between an easement and an alleyway. At this very moment, you have entered the heart of the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Let's get started.
In 2024, Miley Cyrus, Beyonce, Bruce Springsteen, Lana Del Rey, the corpse of David Bowie, and every member of Radiohead, except for the drummer, have all come out in support of Kamala Harris's presidential campaign, and she's been endorsed by the staffs of Rolling Stone, Pitchfork, and the consolidated Spotify playlist makers Local Number 47. Who's supporting Donald Trump, Ted Nugent, Kid Rock, Toby Keith, C.S. Lewis Jr., Chachi, the surviving members of Leonard Skinner, the deceased members of Leonard Skinner, Gino Vanelli, Peter Lemongello, and the entire membership of the Chicago Bears Shufflin' crew. He has also received editorial endorsements from Guns N' Ammo, Cat Fancy, and Cross Stitch Quarterly. A vote for Donald Trump isn't just a vote for fascism, it's a vote for being lame. Don't be lame. Vote for Kamala Harris.
Today's episode of Quibble, Squabble, Bicker is brought to you by Holocaust Bourbon. That's right, Holocaust bourbon. The kind of bourbon you drink when what you have on top of your head doesn't matter too much and what's inside is even less. Yes, Holocaust bourbon is the type of drink that a real comic book nerd might drink when he's feeling like suicide. So anyway, please buy yourself a bottle. Do your friends a favor. Holocaust bourbon.
Ask for it by name.
So, Heron, welcome. This is your first time on this side of the window to participate in one of these episodes. You know, the whole point of this was, bring back the band for the election. And then Greg, for some reason, the commute was too long for him. He can't get from his bed to his tablet today to, even in his raging illness, get his face on the camera.
And yet the major news media told us Greg was fine. This entire time, Greg was fine. He was releasing things on YouTube. He did a comic video that dropped just 2 days ago. Once again, they're just lying to us.
I don't think it's a they in this case. I think it's just Greg. I think that's really what the case is. But why don't we talk about the election? So for those who are tuning in from YouTube, since this is a premature ejaculation, this is the day before the election, the day before Kamala Harris or Donald Trump become our next president. Now, we did an election episode 4 years ago, and that was a hoot. And I'm sure this one will be just as exciting. So I do have to get out of the way. I had a friend I had called as a potential replacement, and he absolutely demanded that I say Camel Toe Harris at some point during the course of this podcast. So, Mike, this is for you. And he had this whole theory that she wears her pants up too tight because she's trying to solicit the elderly gentleman vote. Because of she's doing it to get older guys horny or something. But I'm like, I don't know. I mean,
there's a history there of getting.
I don't know.
I've
never noticed it. The only time I've noticed camel toe in either of the candidates is with Trump's neck. If you look, whenever they show his neck at his collar, he's definitely got a vagina going on right below his chin, between his chin and his collar. He's gonna
come a little more pronounced. I think they're more turkey gobblers, whatever those things are called. It's called.
No, if there was only one fold, then I would agree. If there was only one flap of skin there, I would agree with you. But there's two. He has labia right there. I got to tell you. I mean, just
easily. Go ahead, Aaron. What?
I was just laughing.
You had something important to say.
I've seen that in actually many elderly politicians, honestly, but because
the
I see
least attractive labia, I think anyone should ever have to witness.
Melania's a trooper. That's very true.
I don't think those two sleep in the same room.
No.
I just.
What do you think their sleeping arrangements are, Brendan?
Well, she's in New York. He's in Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, that's a big, very, very astute point. Geography is a big challenge.
Yeah, it's hard to be in the same bed if you're in different states.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, Brenda, this was all entirely your idea to get us all back together again.
Oh, why are you going to blame it on me for?
Because you are the one to blame.
Well, I thought, like you said, get the band back together. If there was ever a time to do it this election, which is going to be the end of the world, apparently, depending on which way you go, I thought it would be good. I bought a mosh pit ticket to the end of the Roman Empire here in downtown Portland. I thought we should go out with this show.
Wait, the Roman Empire is located in Portland?
No, I'm just saying America is burning to the ground.
Only the major liberal cities.
Like Portland.
Right. It's not happening in Jackson, Mississippi. It's all done through poverty.
I don't live in Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh,
but
okay.
That's my point.
And homicide.
I lived in Jackson. What?
Oh, I was saying homicide out there too. Poverty and homicide.
In Mississippi?
Yeah, the rural areas have a lot more violent crime.
Well, that's because they're killing more animals.
No, dude, it's because they got nothing to do.
Yeah, just meth and murder.
Yeah,
That actually was the name of Brendan's old punk band.
meth and murder. Absolutely.
Actually,
It's a great band.
come to think of it, I think it would be perfect for a band
Yeah.
name.
G.G. Allen cover band.
Exactly.
I think his got a lot more violent.
Well,
Well, it's meth and murder. I mean, that's
I think
that,
Allen
that is
also
sort of the
involved
G.G. Allen
feces.
story.
Didn't Allen also
Yeah.
involve a lot of feces whenever he was performing too, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
You would throw it.
He like smear it on his head.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know, did he like keep it in like a jar before he used it, or how did that
No.
work?
He just
No,
was
King
really good at
live.
improv.
Yes.
He was good at poop improv.
Yeah,
Kind of like
on the
the
spot,
chimps
you know?
at the San Diego Zoo. They're just like,
exactly. Yeah, those chimps, they don't have to store it somewhere. They're ready to go.
So he's basically a monkey.
yeah, comes out nice and steamy, easier to throw.
I just realized like you've changed the whole dynamic of the show here, Brendan, because you're standing.
No.
And it's like it makes you a tinier person in this
Should I come closer?
Yes.
possibly. I mean,
Like
because
this?
you're
I'll just
already
do the rest of the I'll do the rest of the show like this. Is that better?
no one would notice the difference really.
I know.
At least you have a more giant head.
Well, here's the thing though. See, watch. I have, in case we need it, a board.
Mhm.
We
Oh,
wanted to,
We can put our
you know,
polling data
discuss
on there.
Florida, for instance, which is an important state.
Right?
You know, and can you see this? And then, there's a line here. The South Florida, this area here, is very
Don't forget
key
the
for
keys.
Democrats.
Don't
But
forget
up
the keys
here-
at the end.
Yeah, up here it's very different. So anyway, I brought the board along so in case you need it. But if you want, I can.
I know there's a whiteboard function on Zoom, but we never got a chance to like test that out.
You don't want the AI to know about this?
No, the
You know what I'm
AI
saying?
is all over this right now. It's recording this and it's going to create a transcript by the end of this for purposes that I don't know what I'm going to do with. You know, it is weird having this thing around my neck. I do feel like I'm part of like Gaza or something. Maybe I should just like move this to
This is
my
for
head.
genocide.
I was just trying to stay warm, but you know, maybe if I'm an old Jewish woman, it all works better.
Yeah, it's a good look.
Just call me Gandalf. All right, let's get this out of here. Since you have the whiteboard out, could you explain like what are the swing states that are in action right now, and who do you actually think is going to win this election?
Ooh, that's a loaded question.
That's a couple of them there.
Yeah, so I think it's fair that I should let you know at this point I am transmitting from a different reality. So I'm not really sure who wins the election in your reality.
Okay.
You see, in my reality, Emperor Andrew Yang has been emperor for life for at least 4 or 5 years now.
But he didn't even pay the money to the people that he said he was going to pay the money to.
No, he didn't pay the money to anybody.
In
That
our
was the
reality.
brilliance.
Oh, okay. Neither reality.
That was the brilliance of this whole move. So, here's the thing that I think is the key for the election there where you are. It's all about sex. It's really the most sexual election I think we've ever had. If you think about it.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a battle of the sexes to an extent.
There is sexuality in every aspect of this election. So you've got Donald Trump and all of his sex crimes and grabbing people here and paying off strippers. You've got Kamala, who's a lot of people saying she rose up through the ranks by servicing old Billy. Not
Well, she did get like a chairmanship over like the sewage contingency in San Francisco.
Right.
From that relationship, and the rest of it, I think she kind of did on her own, though.
Okay, I'm just saying there's a lot of sex in this election. You can't get on X without hearing about a sex story. P. Diddy, Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Gates.
Vance.
Come on. Whoop.
Vance with the couch.
Yeah.
Well,
Vance is having sex with a couch. potentially the other vice president may have been inappropriate with little boys.
Hadn't heard about that one, but that's just because he was a football coach.
Correct. Well, for like 10 minutes, but yeah.
He was a football coach for 10 minutes?
Am I on CNN? I'm gonna get fact checked.
Like,
this is a comedy show, I thought. So yeah, he was a coach. He wasn't like.
Well, I mean, at the same time, if we're gonna be slanderous and libelous, we should get a little
potential
bit
vice
fact-checked.
president of the United States.
Well,
we don't want to get on like some kind of enemies list. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, please, Tim needs to put me on an enemies list. I'll take Tim out.
I don't think he has any enemies. I don't think he has a list of enemies that he's going after. But so I'm assuming that you're feeling like a pedophile vibe from Walls because he reminds you of someone who touched you inappropriately.
No, this was a story that was circulating on the internet like about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
I hadn't even heard that one.
Oh, check it out.
It's not unexpected because that's kind of like a go-to for the Republican side as they go to pedophilia.
Go-to for everybody. You're taking sides. I'm saying you.
I haven't heard it. I haven't heard anybody calling Trump a pedophile.
The sexiest election ever.
I could see possibly Walls and Vance going at it, but like and the whole couch story. We should say we also should do a disclaimer about the couch story. That was totally made up from somebody else too. And it's because they said it was in Vance's book and it's not in Vance's book, but still, we can.
Well, listen, if they need to make up stories to get the mainstream media's attention onto the issues, then I think the couch story is fair.
Who's making up the stories?
Whoever made up the couch story.
Oh, I don't even remember who it was. I think it was a comedian of
good
some
story,
kind.
Though.
Yeah,
it's a good story.
Why not?
Great story.
What's
like
the full story?
The piss tape is real, I bet.
We were going regarding Trump.
Yeah. I'm a piss tape truther ever since 2016. Ever since.
Yeah, that's fair.
Truther.
I believe in the piss tape. I do.
I was sprinkled by that at one point, but I never fully drank that particular story. So I don't know what the full story is about Trump involving. Was this with like with a prostitute or something?
So when he was in Russia, he stayed in a hotel. If I remember correctly, it was a hotel that was notorious for being used for blackmail of like visiting dignitaries and ambassadors and stuff.
Okay.
And allegedly, Trump got recorded in the hotel with assumingly like an escort or a prostitute. And one of the events was golden showers, and it was recorded. And that's the piss tape story. From what I remember. Yeah. It's been almost 10 years, so.
Well, that's a good segue into like some additional sponsors. Let's toss some more sponsors in the mix. We have another political ad to share
Gotta
here.
Pay for this somehow.
I know exactly. All these political people, they've thrown money at us in the form of monopoly money. So let's let them get their money's worth.
If Kamala Harris can switch from Indian to black at will, who's to say what she'll turn into next? A Haitian immigrant with an insatiable hunger for cat meat, hunting down our beloved pets? A mean witch who wants to lure us all into her stew pot with the promise of Turkish delight? A xenomorph with acid blood and an inner set of steel-rending jaws? A Mexican chupacabra who wants to bring drugs and take jobs from hard-working American chupacabras? A trans man? If you vote for Kamala Harris on November 5th, you won't even know who you're voting for. Say no to shapeshifters. Say no to Kamala Harris. Say yes to Donald Trump and his testicles and Arnold Palmer's enormous freedom.
New from Matt Hell, a game so revolutionary it could only be called Beep Boop. There has never been anything like it. Watch as Timmy and Mary play the groundbreaking game Beep Boop.
Beep. Boop. Beep. Boop.
It's so simple, yet so amazing. Kids between the ages of 3.5 and 4 are going wild for Beep Boop. First you beep, then you boop. Scientists are saying that there are no studies to corroborate anything regarding Beep Boop. That's astounding. You might ask, what is Beep Boop? And you'd be right to do so. With Beep Boop, you'll beep boop today. Only available at all retail outlets that carry Beep Boop.
Well, that's an oldie but a goodie.
Those giant stag-looking things. That was the part I was confused by.
One's
What's
the
that have
beep,
to do
one's
with
the
beep
boop.
That's right.
I'll play the game to find out.
No, that, 'cause
I
that
am
seems
just
like
glad
would
that
be
after
bad.
all of these years, somebody finally noticed those pieces that I put into that ad deliberately.
I never saw it. This is my point. We talked about it, and I was like, I never saw that. And if I saw it, I would have immediately. That was a melee weapon. That's like a +2 something or other. I don't know. Pull it out of your bag.
There's specially made for kids, actually. So, but Heron is correct. There is a beeping and a booping that's involved there, and if you're getting stabbed with one of those things, you can guarantee that. All right. So, getting back to the election. So right now, it's kind of a dead heat involving Harris and Trump. So a weird new poll came out, I think it was earlier this morning or late last night, that she was suddenly ahead by 3 points in Iowa, turning Iowa into a swing state all of a sudden, which possibly changes the landscape. But God knows, with polls, who knows what you can believe about anything. All I know is that
the problem with the Iowa poll, it was inherently something I know as a marketing person. It was biased based on the types of people that respond to surveys. So the last time they did the same poll in Iowa, it put the Democrat ahead because Iowa Democrats tend to do online polls and surveys more than other people do. Because in the end, it changed and it wasn't indicative of anything. Nate Silver.
So basically, we can't trust any polls.
No, you really can't. Not at this point. Not an election so close.
But how do we know it's close unless we do it based upon polls?
I'm not saying all polls are bullshit. I'm just saying that don't believe if you're a Harris person, don't put too much credence in that.
Look
She's
at
still
the
got to win a couple of
context
swing states.
of the actual.
Got to get Nevada. Go ahead, Aaron. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, look at whatever the context is of how they actually did the polling, the area, the number of people. Because, like you're saying, first of all, you have to account for the fact that only a specific kind of person will even respond to polling.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I realized, Heron, is that you actually need to be far more intoxicated to be a proper representative of Greg.
I'll work on it. I've got 2 Widmers, and I've got some state legal other substances.
So obviously, Twizzlers.
Yeah.
And apparently, Brendan is sipping straight out of a vodka bottle.
You know what? I've got some of that in my
This is for
pantry.
Greg. That's what this is. This is for Greg.
Cheers for Greg.
There was no Holocaust bourbon, though.
No, absolute vodka.
That was a different ad. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so looking at this election, so I know there's a lot of controversy involving how Harris got into the election at all, right? And so a lot of people feel that this is all staged and done by the Democrats because it was all a plan to just get Biden out at the right time and to push Harris in. You guys have an opinion about that? And Heron, you need to work on being a little funnier.
Yeah, I mean, as we all know, in history, coups are always about listening to your supporters who don't want the candidate, and then you put in a different candidate. That's what a coup is, right?
Well, there's usually a little more bloodshed involved.
What?
Yeah.
Other than the bloodless coups.
Come on. Right.
This is America. Here's the thing. If this was the plan, this was a really stupid plan. If they knew Biden was going sideways, I think this was a oh fuck moment. I think Biden was this fucked up much earlier, which they had to have known that. They would have had an open primary. They wouldn't have tried to shut it down. That's why I think the Biden people or the people behind Biden are really concerned about control because this is a bad play. If you were even going to try to do a coup, this is the dumbest coup ever because she's not very likable. At least she wasn't when she ran for president for real.
Well, honestly, I was kind of looking at her as a viable candidate at the time that she was running. I kind of preferred her over Biden because I was always a never Biden anyway. I never really wanted Biden as president.
Nobody wanted Biden. I'm sure it's ahead of Biden.
There were plenty of people who wanted Biden because he did have a good relationship with a lot of other people, right? But from my perspective, going back to what was it, the 90s, that's when Biden turned me off in terms of his candidate. However, Biden was very fortunate that he wound up running against Trump because of the fact that I am not a fan of Donald Trump and have not been since I first became aware of him back in the 80s. You know, he just has rubbed me the wrong way for decades. And he never did anything while he was president that caused me to go, well, maybe I should reevaluate my opinion of him. I mean, I kept giving him opportunities to change my mind about him, and he kept doing stupid shit. And so even now, you know, the most recent thing, which is the whole Trump garbage truck issue, where I don't know if you saw the footage on that, Brendan, but he went to go into the school.
Somebody let that fucking moron in a truck again. I don't know what PR person he's. Needs to be
Well,
fired.
it's not about him being in the truck.
Last time he did this, are you talking?
But
this again?
Brenda, but you don't. Apparently, you haven't seen the footage. So it's not about him being in the truck. It's about him having trouble getting into the truck. So he went towards the truck and tried to grab the door handle, and he missed it 3 times.
He's a fucking old man.
Right.
Yeah, he's like
exactly. 80. And it's like you'd think
arguing that.
Yeah, I'm just saying that you'd think the Republicans would have taken a page out of the Democratic playbook and gone, you know what? Let's just shove Vance out to the front and just let that play out.
Well, but see, the issue there is that Vance is so much less likable.
Like, I don't know, because after his debate with Walz,
Boy is not ready for prime time. Did you see him in the donut shop?
Yes, I saw him in the donut shop.
Did you see him in his interview with Jake Tapper, where he started whining like a little child over the questions being asked?
How did he whine like a child with Jake Tapper?
I'll have to remember the exact quote. But
just give us what his face was like, and show us how.
No, stop! That's not true. You know that's not true. And just kind of
can you do that like a little more whiny though?
Jake, you know that's not what he meant. Jake, come on, Jake.
That seems like a much more accurate Vance impersonation.
Okay, good.
Yeah, the Republicans don't have.
I'm working on it.
They don't have anybody. But you think there'd be somebody in that big catalog of Republicans that they have, that there would be somebody who'd be a more viable candidate than
I thought back
Donald Trump.
Well, it's not about.
I thought back in the day that Kasich was a pretty good guy.
Yeah. Well, you know, there was another Republican who was running in the primary other than Nikki Haley, besides Trump, that nobody remembers. And he was the Libertarian VP candidate in 2016. And that was former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld.
Bill Weld is a fantastic individual.
Yeah, if Weld was actually there as president, as a matter of fact, he was the one who got me to vote Libertarian in 2016. I would have preferred him over Johnson as the presidential candidate for the Libertarians in 2016. But either way, just that ticket was like a much better ticket than either the Democrats or the Republicans have put up. So then this time around, I'm like, not. The third party tickets are just not doing it for me this time around. Yeah. And, I think people should be aware that they're also one of the sponsors of this particular episode.
So we just wandered into a sponsor ad?
We did. We wandered into another one. Another sponsor has occurred.
We have been here.
You love us.
Together we've done great things.
You need us.
Our common context is our community.
We love you.
The future is now. The past is forgotten.
We love you. We love you.
Wow, that was frightening, actually.
This is Greg Penix, beloved co-host of the renowned podcast, The Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker.
Beloved.
We like to horse around on our show a lot, but today I'd like to talk about something that's no laughing matter. Each day in the United States, 2,000 people die from the side effects of anal bleaching. I know we all want our nether regions to be as clear as the driven snow, but bleaching your anus is like playing Russian roulette with your bunghole. As Socrates once said, your taint is your treasure. It's not your place to risk it. Paid for by the Clean Sphincter Society.
Hi, I'm Sid. And I'm Nancy. Come on out to Sid and Nancy's Nickel Emporium, where everybody gets a nickel for whatever you're trading. We have purple nickels, green nickels, even nickel nickels. Bring in an envelope and you get a nickel. Bring in a couch and you get a nickel. You know you want a shiny new nickel for that antique dresser, so bring it right in. Everyone knows pennies are worthless, so why settle for less than a nickel? Have no space for that brand new stove? We'll take care of it for you. Trade it in for a nickel. We've got bags of them. Some people say don't take wooden nickels, but we'll give them to you so you don't have to take them. So remember, at Sid and Nancy's Nickel Emporium, no one walks away with empty pockets. Everybody gets a nickel.
Each nickel is certified legal tender for the United States government, not to be used as food items. Sid and Nancy's Nickel Emporium cannot be held responsible for any nickels stuck in anyone's body orifices. Please use nickels responsibly.
Why Sid and Nancy? I just realized.
Well, you know, why Brendan, why Matt, why Heron? Everybody picks their names for their kids.
All right. I thought maybe there was a subtle. I thought it was an inside joke I wasn't getting. Like maybe Sid liked to put nickels up her ass? I don't know.
Well, I think the issue here, Brendan, is that it's an inside joke within an inside joke within another inside joke.
I noticed you led with the lizard people. I mean, they are the sponsors of pretty much all of it. So, you know, get used to it.
I got to say, I don't even understand that one. Like, see, I was expecting something more insightful whenever you're putting that one together, so I can understand the whole lizard people concept. But actually, this is a good opportunity. Could you explain to me, like, clearly, like, what is this whole lizard people theology involving controlling the country and the world or whatever?
Serious right now. So,
yes, this would
basically,
be serious.
Basically, the modern popularization of the subject came from a guy named David Icke, who was a British soccer football player who one day, quite unknown or for reasons known to only him, walked out on a TV stage. He was a broadcaster at that time because he hurt himself and pronounced that he was Jesus Christ and that the world was ending. And then when the world didn't end and everybody laughed at him, he later went into a bunker and then wrote a bunch of books about how the world's controlled by shape-shifting lizards. And he, to this day, sells out probably small venues, 2,000 people. I think he's got about 20 books out. He does all right. He lives on the Isle of Man, and most of it comes from him. But there's been historical references to non-human people all the way back in the Bible. So he just kind of synthesized it.
Well, I mean, even going back to, I suppose, the Egyptian gods, I suppose, that are half human and half sometimes lizard people.
Exactly.
So this is a kind of a retelling of the old mythos, I suppose, of
all religions are in some way or another. Think about it.
All of them.
All
Speaking of Heaven's Gate, you've been recently like following their practices, right? And
all the time. I mean, here in Honor mentioned that is the major church. We got rid of Catholicism and Judaism and all the isms that divided us, and we're all just now waiting for the next comet. So how's it going in your area? The church has figured it all out by now?
I think where I am, it's mainly Quakers.
So you have a lot of oatmeal in your diet.
Right.
I mean, living.
And no dancing.
That is the low-hanging grain, I suppose, in that particular joke. But yeah, it's either the Quakers or the Shakers, I think, are involved with the comets. Maybe the Shakers would be more accurate for the comets than the Quakers, though.
Quakers and Shakers. We're a big tent here at Heaven's Gate.
Here at Heaven's Gate. How big is the gate?
Massive, dude. It's like 10 cubits, like 20 cubits. You can fit a whole ox to a gate. I love that. I was watching some ancient history thing, and they're talking about this thing, and like it's 10 cubits, and I'm like doing quick thing. I'm like, it's not that big. That's like my apartment. That's the holy of the holies. A space as big as my place. Oh, come
No, a
on.
cubit. I can't remember. Isn't that like the length from your wrist to your elbow or something?
No, it's nothing. It's like this. I mean, I don't know how big that guy was, but but roughly, yeah, that's it. So it was like 10 cubits, and I'm like, once I figured it out, I was like,
It's like
that's
20
nothing
feet.
at all.
20 feet
Yeah,
long.
basically.
So basically, it's sending out Noah in a box, not an ark.
I want you to build an ark and make the ark out of cubits, 80 cubits, 40 cubits, 30 cubits. What's a cubit?
That's right. That's what the lizards want you to believe. But
Oop. Did you give it away?
I didn't say anything. What? You can take that out in the edits, right?
I'm sure the lizard people will be coming after you for like outing them on this anyway.
Well,
They'll be
they
like,
sent me the ad. They wanted me to look at it. I was like, I don't know. I think this is a little heady. I don't think people are going to get it. And it didn't test well, obviously. That's what I'm going to have to tell them. They're going to have to cover their tracks a little bit better.
you're talking about the lizard people? Well, it's all Ike's fault, though. I suppose if they didn't really want to be outed, they would have gone after that guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well,
Maybe
I'm
he's
saying
controlled opposition, and they're actually turtle people specifically, not lizards.
Now, what? Okay,
wow.
I'm curious here. So, what would make it different if they were turtle people?
Well, let me just lay this out. Okay, so there's lots of creation myths out there, and obviously one of the oldest ones is the idea of the giant floating turtle in space with elephants standing on its back with pillars on the elephants holding up the world. So naturally, you would think a giant turtle like that, it's got to have children, and eventually those children, millions, bajillions of years, they're going to evolve into different things. So then you get turtle people eventually that climb up the elephants and the pillars onto the plate that is the world and then just hang out up there.
Are
So they'd be
turtles
hungry.
known for climbing, though? I'm not sure that.
Yeah.
And plus
They
the
can
other
climb
question is there would
trees.
have to be another giant turtle to procreate, I would think, the
No.
additional turtles.
That's just an assumption that you're making from the turtles we have.
True.
Yeah, these
There
are different.
there
These
are
are
reptiles
these
that
cosmic
like
turtles, dude.
there are geckos that reproduce asexually.
Geckos.
So I think that's another reptile. So I think it stands to reason all reptiles come from the cosmic turtle. The cosmic turtle can reproduce asexually.
So
Right.
if there's a cosmic turtle, we probably all descended from the cosmic turtle anyway.
Not necessarily, because where did the elephants come from?
The
Mammals
cosmic turtle.
come from the cosmic elephants.
Well,
Right.
but where do the cosmic elephants come from? The cosmic turtle, because the cosmic turtle is bigger than the cosmic elephants.
Dude, you're getting lost. You're getting lost. You got to pay attention to what he's saying about the turtles. The turtles are important, right?
Right, yeah. This is the whole
Because
point
the
that I was
turtles
getting
go
at with
back to the
David Icke.
Ninja Turtles, right? So Ninja
See?
Turtles, what's that in New York, right?
Turtle
With
people
rats
in
and
New
all
York.
that shit.
New York, that's like one of the biggest population centers in the United States. It's like one of the capitals of the world. So there you go. Pizza.
Right.
They eat
Pizza.
pizza. That comes from
What
Italy.
what
Italy
does pizza
stole
connect to?
pasta. They stole
What does
noodles
pizza
from
connect to?
China.
Right.
Oh,
Pizza
you're right.
Pizza connects to Pizzagate.
Hillary Clinton,
Hillary Clinton.
Jeffrey Epstein,
Turtles.
Donald Trump. There you go.
Boom.
Donald Trump's from New York. It's all turtles all the way down.
I hadn't really looked at it. This is
So
good. I'm writing this
actually,
down.
That's what I'm
his
saying.
ancestors changed his name from Turtle to Trump, is what you're saying.
Well, so it went, we've got Trump. Before that, you have Drumpf. Before that, obviously, the German translation is Durmfruten. And that became the word turtle in English.
Right. I see it.
Dermflurken?
Durmfdul.
Verflurken, Durkin.
So is that going to be like fully written out on the ballot? I haven't actually voted yet, so I have to take care of that tomorrow.
Well, no, because again, they changed their name when they came to the United States.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
officially, he is legally Trump. But I'm sure if you went far enough back in his lineage into like the Carolingian times, you would find someone with the last name Dirtle or something.
But I don't think he was involved in North or South Carolina, though.
That's a different Carolyn.
Oh, okay.
This is pre-Carolina.
Okay.
Carolinas are where the Carolinas are where the vampires are, dude. That's where the vampires are.
Oh,
They're in the Carolinas.
The turtle vampires?
No. It's different group altogether. These are the turtles. There's the turtles, and there's the vampires. The vampires are in North Carolina. That's why the South was on the side of slavery, because it was really just a program for the vampires to have just basically cattle. Look it up.
Wait, so, all right. Well, then how do the vampires exist on the turtle blood?
No, it's just different
blood.
things.
It's just blood.
Yeah, it's blood. It's blood is involved for sure. Always. Adrenochromes.
You've got turtles, you've got elephants, you got vampires. Elephants, obviously, they become mammals. Vampires become like, oh, coronavirus. That's basically a vampire, right? And so
did we mention that what is the elephant the symbol of?
The Republican Party.
Oh, well.
See?
And the donkeys are the symbol of the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And
donkeys
is there a connection
are descended from elephants.
Are they?
Yeah. I mean, think about it. They both have
donkeys
4
get
legs
a bad rap, generally
and a
speaking,
tail
right?
and a snout.
Okay. Well, speaking of asses.
If you squint and you look at an elephant, you might see a donkey eventually.
Right now, you look like an anime character with that look. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Or one of the ninja. The ninja. Okay,
turtles.
I'm getting old, and a couple of
Thinking back
TIAs
to Trump's chin again.
affected my ability to speak clearly. I think it's time for another couple of ads. I think that's really what we need to do right now. Or should we find out what actually happened to Waspy Soda Pop? Are you guys interested in?
Oh my God!
In the last 2 years, Waspy Soda Pop. He was a fixture in the lofts of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Always came up with very interesting and tasty recipes. And there's an entire documentary out there about what happened to him. So
let's hear it. I need to know what's going on with Waspy.
It's quite important. It's unfortunate that Greg can't be here to experience it, because he is apparently very, very instrumental in Waspy's story. So let's get this going.
At Safe Mart.
I was going to say, they don't have Safeway, particularly in Florida. So I would listen to the Safe Mart things and go, oh, that's such a Portland thing. And now that I live here, I go to Safeway all the time. So every time I go to the Safeway, I hear the Safe Mart ad in my ear for some reason.
Although it's, a combination of Safeway and Walmart. I think that's what they're trying to go for here. But
right, yeah.
But let's get into this. So grab your drinks, sit back, and let's hear the story of the disappearance of Waspy Soda Pop.
At Safe Mart, it's a Safe Mart. Time to Safe Mart and be safe.
Safe Mart is a proud sponsor of Food is for Eating with Waspy Soda Pop.
Food is for eating. Food is for eating. Food is for eating with Waspy Soda Pop.
Hey there, everybody. This is Waspy Soda Pop.
Today, we pay tribute to a previously unheralded titan in the field of cooking. Truly, there has never been anyone with such a lasting impact on the culinary profession than the hero of heroes, the master of mixers, the impresario of the Iditarod, the geothermic giant of grilling, the Edison of eating, Waspy Soda Pop. Word came to our studios here at the BBC that while in pursuit of a very rare ingredient, Waspy completely disappeared and is believed to have suffered an ignoble end. When you hear the name Waspy Soda Pop, what comes to mind is the story of a fearless culinary giant. A man who was often inspired by the simplest of dishes that he would then transform into the most advanced gastronomical inventions the world has ever seen. It is in pursuit of this, Soda Pop may have perhaps finally met a grisly end. According to notes found on a discarded laptop, not long ago, Waspy had created his take on the classic BLT sandwich creatively using bear, lead and tuna between the white toast slices. But he was missing something to tie it all together. Was it a texture, a flavour, a tongue lashing? No, simply a condiment. But he realised he couldn't just use mustard or ketchup or Worcestershire sauce. He needed the greatest condiment ever made, mayonnaise. Not just any mayonnaise would do, however. In his notes, Soda Pop mentioned finding a special mayo recipe scratched onto the surface of one of the columns in Petra as part of special archaeological food study he conducted while being held hostage in Jordan by Druze militants in the 1970s. The full ingredient list is missing, but we were able to piece together evidence of what he collected prior to vanishing. The lengths he travelled were astonishing. Soda Pop ventured with Greenpeace to the giant trash ball in the Pacific Ocean to obtain prized great blue whale snot. Exploring the Arctic ice shelf, Waspy milked semen from a lanternfish. This required very specialised equipment and a cooperative female lanternfish. Slogging through the Amazonian rainforest while fighting off jaguars and foot rot, he plucked 4 ticks from a 3-toed sloth in Brazil. With help from 5 Aboriginal tribesmen all named Flurbabot Bot, Soda Pop extracted chlamydia cells from the fingernails of a koala in the Australian outback. After being tossed in the air approximately 10 times, Soda Pop scooped pus from an infected wound on an American bison in Wyoming. He was wearing 4 tourniquets at the time. Running from an Arabian sheikh after sleeping with his daughter, Soda Pop made a quick detour to smoke cigars with a camel deep in the Sahara Desert. This enabled him to collect the required amount of camel phlegm for the very special and complex mayonnaise. With all of those ingredients in hand, the records we retrieved indicated he only needed 1 more item to complete this delectable substance. But why did the inimitable Waspy Soda Pop venture forth into such dangerous terrains and circumstances? Because of one man, famous fake attorney and soulless comic book villain Greg Petix. For reasons known only to that conniving, bloodthirsty, vain, ruthless dandy, Petix terminated Soda Pop's show at the height of his popularity and goodwill. Everyone knows Petix cares nothing for cutting-edge avant-garde savants like Waspy Soda Pop, but who knew he would risk his entire false law firm by ruining the career of such a beloved genius? Undeterred by the malice of Petix, Waspy went immediately to work to create something to honour that horrible man. Yes, that Petix, the one that so ruthlessly terminated Waspy's skyrocketing TV career. This showcases the saintly and selfless character of the noble Soda Pop. His final creation he called Petix mayonnaise, made from completely natural but incredibly rare and honestly vomit-worthy ingredients, like the awful Petix himself. But his final ingredient seems to have been his undoing. The final ingredient was to be 1 nostril hair plucked from the leader of a small tribe indigenous to the world's 2nd largest island, New Guinea. The Korowai tribe of New Guinea calls its leaders fierce men and has a fascinating method of doling out justice to those believed to be harming other members of the tribe. Soda Pop needed to pluck the nostril hair from a fierce man to add a subtle tang to the Petix mayonnaise. The drawback? The Korowai are cannibals and Waspy Soda Pop was possibly believed to be a ghost demon in their religion. Plus, this is the haunt of giant spiders, killer snakes, and lethal microbes. The Korowai have no knowledge of the deadly germs that infest their jungles, and so believe that mysterious deaths must be caused by kakua, or witches who take on the form of men. It is the kakua that are eaten by the Korowai, as they are not considered human beings. Anything could have taken Soda Pop out. Unfortunately, we don't have much more information. Quick interviews with non-Korowai tribesmen who lived nearby only confirmed Waspy Soda Pop had entered the jungles carrying pots, pans, and 3 or 4 fanny packs. We'll probably never know what he experienced nor what happened, but much like the disappearance of Michael Rockefeller in 1961, who vanished merely 200 miles away from Soda Pop's last known location, Waspy will be mourned and grieved by gastronomes around the globe, from Peoria, Illinois to Lima, Peru, and the world will never be nourished by possibly the greatest concoction ever devised, Petix mayonnaise, for want of a nostril hair. This is Ponderosa of the Bursitis Broadcasting Corporation signing off. Have a waspy tomorrow.
Wow, I mean, I didn't realize he had a whole documentary. I didn't know the whole story. It's amazing.
Well, I mean, even so, we can't even confirm that he's gone. It's just, or we know that he's gone. We just don't know if he's gone. But it may turn out to be just like Michael Rockefeller. I guess that's the correct pronunciation of Michael by the narrator.
Or Elvis or Tupac or any of those guys, you know?
I think they're all on the same island. They're somewhere with the Kurawai tribe in New Guinea.
I was saying that's what the mainstream media says happened.
Well, this isn't really mainstream media. They say BBC, but they said at the end it's their Bursitis Broadcasting Corporation. So
Right.
I don't think
But
they're...
if it's published by the BBC, it's mainstream media, right?
If it's that BBC. If it's the Brits.
He sounded British.
He did.
The narrator. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was all done
So
to fool. I think he might be one of the turtle people.
It's possible. We're going to have to make a trip down to wherever that tribe is and look for Waspy Soda Pop, I think.
I agree. I'm in.
That's the only way to know for sure. You know?
Now, the one interesting thing about that particular tribe is they don't necessarily just eat anybody. They only eat people, and they don't consider them people. They only eat the ones that are accused of being demons who are harming other people in the tribe.
Yeah.
So unless that's, proven, they won't eat you.
Is there like a proof thing? Like,
yeah, it's basically the person who feels like they've been harmed. It's usually somebody who's dying. And as they're nearing their death, they then will state who the Kakua is. And then that's who the elders of the village will then kill and eat so that they cannot possess or destroy another member of the tribe. Unfortunately, sometimes those people who are accused of being Kakuas deny it wholeheartedly. You think they would stick them, I don't know, weight them down and put them in a river or something to prove that they're actually Kakuas, or put them, light them on fire to prove that they are not Kakuas. But everybody's got their thing.
Just an example of shithole country technology. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Real technology is put weights on the bitch and sink her to the bottom of the lake.
Yes.
That's what we did.
Right. And then that's the best way to tell, if somebody's actually a witch. But, if you're just going by some other guy who's been dying and he says this is the person who did it, it's like, can you really trust what they're saying? I mean, it is hearsay,
Yeah.
So there's no way. It's just anecdotal. But, most of our elections are kind of based on anecdotal stuff, too. It's like, what's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
I was surprised by the involvement of the Druze in this. I never would have suspected that.
Well, I wonder if that caused Waspy Soda Pop to have like some form of PTSD later on in life, If he was forced on a food archaeological expedition in the 70s by the Druze in Jordan, so much so that it forced him into Petra to find this recipe written on a column. And, it actually makes me wonder, like, the people who put it there, how would they even know about tribes in New Guinea?
Well, so here's the other thing.
See?
We're talking about Petra,
Hollow Earth,
right? The columns on Petra.
Yes.
This takes us back to the cosmic turtle. We've got the turtle, then the elephants, then the pillars that hold up the world. And where are turtles? The ocean. Where is New Guinea? The ocean.
Right.
And where are elephants? Elephants are in
that,
Africa.
if you go into any Masonic temple, what's the first thing you see?
I don't know. Masons?
Two pillars. No.
That makes me question. That now makes me question you and your veracity, Brenda. The fact that you know what you see when you go into a Masonic temple, I believe you just outed yourself. Is that one eye over a pyramid I see in your background?
What degree are you, Brandon?
I'm coming back to Florida because I got to get my books, but I'm not saying anything.
I think when we see Brendan leave his apartment in a tiny little car and wearing a fez, that will tell us everything we need to know. You're involved with the Shriners? Well, hey, by the way, guys, we do have people watching on YouTube. We have Ike Avelli, who's in New Jersey. He said, welcome back. And then Golden Showers, that explains his color. And then Sanchez Eldorado in North Dakota has responded. He says he rusted. got a positive response out of Ike. He says the Republican brain trust at its best. I did respond to that point, and that's why things got screwed up on the documentary, because I was responding to the people on YouTube. Then I thought I could do both. And then it looks like you have a sibling on here, Heron, who's stating,
I can't see the chat.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Yeah,
Top
it's just not
chat.
showing up for me.
Yeah, I don't know how to make that happen.
Yeah.
Says, what are you watching? Hi, is the podcast back forever? Well, the podcast is not back forever. Man, I'm really tired of being unable to speak clearly anymore. It really bothers me that my enunciation abilities just suck these days, and that I slur words, and that's very frustrating to me. Anyway, regardless of that, so the podcast isn't back
Brought to you
forever.
by some pharmaceutical. You're not taking the right thing.
That could be.
Buy now. Ask your doctor.
I may need to get on something that's maybe more fun than lisinopril or amlodipine or atorvastatin.
I exist purely on a diet of B12 gummies.
B12.
That's all I need. Yes.
Yeah, that's all you eat, though, is B12 gummies. Morning,
Yes.
noon, and night.
Morning, noon, and night. Sometimes I put gravy on them, but it's just B12 gummy vitamins.
Now, is that like a bowl of B12 with gravy on it, or an individual vitamin with just a little dollop of gravy?
That is honestly a fair question. I like to take the gummies in like some chopsticks and then dip them into the gravy. I have a little side.
Kind of like wasabi.
Sometimes I'll have some au jus. Sometimes it'll be gravy. It's just how I'm feeling. Like, it's been a gravy week here in Portland with all the rain and cold. So I've been just dipping them in the gravy. But thanks for asking.
No, not being one who buys gummies. What shape do they come? Are they in the shape of bears, or are they defunct? The bears.
No. When you get the B12 gummies at Fred Meyer, link below. I'm just kidding. They're little like jujube shaped. They're just little domes.
Gotcha. So they're just like you said, jujubes. Are they that hard to chew on your teeth like jujubes are too?
No, they're a little better than that. Jujubes were super sticky. These aren't as sticky.
They were. They basically made your teeth stick together. They were kind of like their form of movie theater glue.
Yeah, exactly.
You could take a bite and then you couldn't take another one. All right. Well, do we have any other discussion we need to make regarding the story of Waspy Soda Pop and wherever it is he may be?
I still think it's inconclusive, and we need to make an expedition to find him.
I do like how it was all because of Greg, really, though. Like, Greg was responsible for Waspy's disappearance.
Maybe he's a turtle person. That might be
It's
why he's
karma.
not here.
I
on
think right
election
now
night.
Greg is definitely in turtle mode.
Yeah.
I think
See? He's in his show.
Greg has gone full turtle. I also like how the narrator would keep continuously mispronouncing Greg's last name too. It was either Pedix or Petix, or I think it was between those two, and it couldn't be consistent though. It's very sad that Greg wasn't here to hear it though. So
yeah, it's not an ordinary last name. So
yeah, that's true.
Also,
also have
Theo
Greg
in the
could make
chat.
it. Hi, Heron. And then there is a little dabbing emoji for you.
Yeah. Greg is sick, Theo. I'm his replacement for now.
Yeah, Greg, Theo, Heron is essentially the Kamala Harris of the podcast. Because Greg was old and infirm and unable to carry forth his duties any longer, at least for this particular episode. So Heron has come in to be his replacement, albeit more attractive, I suppose, than Kamala Harris. But
if he's Harris, what does that make me?
you are Hunter S. Thompson. This is the
Gold
main
stars.
political. This is the main political sponsor we have for today. So let's get this thing done correctly. Trump, Harris, Vole, Walls. It's a dead heat. Your next president will be here sooner than you think. The next 4 years will be spent regretting your decision, regardless of who you voted for. The election is so tight you can hear it squeak, like a balloon in Dick Cheney's ass, or like a church mouse under the foot of a MAGA bully boy, or the giant liberal head of a progressive who fainted and crushed the little thing. Harris and Trump know they don't have the power in this election. We have the power. We are the Greens. We are the Libertarians. We are whatever the hell RFK Jr. is. Of course we know he dropped out, but he doesn't. We are the other parties, the ones that live in the shadows, the ones that people choose who are afraid to commit to a Republican or Democratic candidate. But at least they can tell their friends they voted. Then their friends will tell them they wasted their vote, and they'd be right because no one wants any loony fringe party candidate to run the country, or even their local municipality for that matter. They can't even make their party significant enough to get federal matching election funds. Oh, sorry. What was I saying? Right. We have the power. Jill Stein of the Greens, Chase Aller of the Libertarians, RFK Jr. of the Planet Bear Carcass slash Die of Polio slash the fuck is he saying?
So, are
the most powerful members of the useless third parties. Harris and Trump need our members to make a goddamn decision in every battleground state. They need our indecisive spoiler votes to turn the tide in their direction. If it comes down to 20 votes, we have the power. We can decide whether the fascist or the communist will be president. They think that we are pulling votes away from their candidate. They couldn't be more wrong. If we wanted to vote for their candidate, we would have already. Instead, we care so little for our country, we let the morons of the Republican Party and the nutcases of the Democratic Party make our choices. Why? Well, because we really can't be bothered. So when election day comes, don't vote with your conscience. You know you don't have one. Take that $1 million from the richest and most powerful illegal immigrant / election interferer in the world, Elon Musk, and tell him you voted for Trump after writing in your own name. And remember, we have the power to go, paid for by the coalition of coalitions that form coalitions to create coalitions, PAC, Super PAC, and committee to re-elect Adlai Stevenson. This will self-destruct in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Are you looking for a late afternoon pick-me-up right after a long ride on your unicycle? Look no further than Huzzah. This artisan-crafted vitality drink brewed and bottled by local Portland cosplay alchemists for your imbibing delight. This is not one of those overly aggro, alt-energy swills designed for alpha skateboard, race car, bungee jumping go-getters with more testosterone than prudence would dictate. No, Huzzah provides all the vigor and verve your steampunk, role-playing, rubber stamp crafter would fancy. Handlebar mustache? Check. Pocket watch? Check. Top hat with goggles and a flair for the dramatic? Triple check. Stop pining for proper liquid resuscitation. Huzzah! One sip and you'll say Excelsior.
Have you ever wondered what causes dogs to be fascinated by the rumps of other dogs? Did you ever feel like you were missing out on something wondrous? Like your olfactory system is disappointing you? Today your prayers have been answered with the creation of Dog Nose Hat. Dog Nose Hat is a simple device that you place over your head and over your face to recreate that dog sniffing experience. But don't be fooled by its simplicity. By placing Dog Nose Hat firmly on your head and then inserting the patented Canis Nasus pads into each nostril, you will have the ability to smell what any dog can smell. Our Canis Nasus pads add over 280 million olfactory receptors to better exemplify the dog sniff sensation. You'll be able to smell drugs in your kids' rooms, bombs at local airports, dead bodies at our local trailer homes, and of course the savory aroma of the behinds of the pets next door. Get your very own Dog Nose Hat and go woof.
All right, I had forgotten about Dog Nose Hat as a product that could be gotten. Somehow we've lost Brendan. All that's left is
the
his
turtle
bougie,
people got him.
All that's left is his bougie little partition, his little Asian partition.
Safe.
That's how he keeps himself apart from
Partition. I'll have you know, I've been to your house. Let's not talk about bougie.
We have no partitions. We have clutter.
I live in a glorified hotel room and have for about a year and a half. What do you want from me? This is the best I could do. I'm in here.
Did you remember?
I've done pretty well for myself, honestly. I think the feng shui of what I brought together here tonight, I think it's fantastic. You're just a hater.
Well,
Honestly,
that's true.
Your setup looks like a YouTuber setup. It does.
It does. He's not wrong.
You
There's a
almost
reason
made him
behind all
get.
that.
You almost made him get pinky to corner of mouth, Heron. Oh yes, I believe you're correct on the YouTuber setup that I have.
What could be brewing? Says. I don't know.
All right, let's get back to the whiteboard. So, where does where's it stand? And oh, by the way, somebody named Keisha Only is asking, what is that garbage you're drinking, Brendan?
Well, there's either this garbage, which is again in the dimension I am in, the only beer that exists, or
Hub Beer Lager.
it's this garbage. But I don't know.
But but you're correct that you've been living in a hotel room for the last 2 years, and you basically have the right to drink whatever the hell you want to drink and
That's
vomit.
what I'm saying.
Exactly in the pattern that's on the partition as well, whenever you do get around to doing your vomiting.
How do you think the pattern
Can you
got?
actually see this?
I can see you drawing X's over on a head, if it's a head. Could be a pumpkin.
I don't know.
So is that Alaska? So where's Alaska stand with the election? We're kind of getting off the subject a little bit. I mean, we have had a couple
we were
of
supposed to be
political
talking
ads,
about the
but-
swing states.
Right, or at least something regarding the election.
Let's roughly, kind of, here's Washington, right? Here's Maine, whatever.
Are you drawing the state of Washington right now?
Oh, no, I'm just kind of whatever. No, there's Florida somehow.
Oh, this is the United States. Okay.
It's the United States.
That's more of a cow,
Come on.
actually.
Huh?
If you
It's more
think
like
about it,
it's kind of partially a cow.
Is like a good symbol for the United States.
A cow?
Yeah, you milk it till it dies, and then you make it into steaks.
Keisha Only, Brendan says, cheap vodka, you know better.
That's true.
Although
Theodore
Theodore says you are rocking the Hunter S. Thompson look, though.
Hey, there's a lot of worse people. I'm just glad somebody didn't call me Smash Mouth or something.
Hey now,
you're an all-star. But obviously,
cow country.
Okay.
Right? And the country splits kind of like this. I only have 2 pins. So
Yes.
over here, just gonna call this "Who cares?" Because this is the West Coast. No one cares about it.
Okay, good.
And then
Just delete it. That's what people are expecting anyway.
Kind of goes mostly over here now too. So we'll just get rid of this top part over here.
So what do we have?
well, and you can remove Florida
I'm
too,
getting
because
there.
the hurricanes are going to separate that from the rest of the continent.
Let me get this part down here. These are all the quote unquote rednecks live, so we'll get rid of them. Bye, Florida, Texas, all y'all. Bye.
Okay, I'm just curious how this is going to play out because we've got cow
Now
country.
we're strictly in 100% cow country. Now, who has really appealed to the cow vote? That's my question to you two.
That is a
analysts.
good question.
Who's really talking cow politics? Not this sexual stuff I brought up at the beginning, but the real deal of cows and udders and milk and who's really, because that's where
It would be the grass farmers.
this is
The alfalfa.
this is part.
The alfalfa farmers, actually, to be more specific.
That poor kid.
Yes. Farmed since birth.
So that's really the question. The question becomes who controls the cow vote?
And whoever controls the cows controls the future.
Well,
Because
I've
the cows
heard
are related
some.
to elephants.
I have heard
Listen,
some.
There you go.
Listen,
Four legs,
Matt.
tails.
The cows
just
are
like an
related to
elephant.
elephants and the turtles.
I have heard Pardon the pun. That was an accidental pun.
It's
I
in
have
our
heard
language
some
even.
Republicans refer to Kamala as a cow. So, that could be an aspect of whatever's going on here too.
Let's keep workshopping this. So they refer to as a cow. She's also possibly Indian.
She was
true.
Another choice besides Biden. She was another choice. That's the low-hanging utter pun that was necessary to be used. Don't just stare at me like this.
That's a lot of good points. I think what's going to happen. Where did my green pen go? What's going to happen is
tell him where his green pen went, Heron.
And you know what? This actually brings up a good point. Trump worked at McDonald's, who kills cows to make burgers.
I don't think Brenda can hear you at all.
No, that's all
No,
right.
I can hear you.
He's in cow country right now.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what?
I was just saying Trump worked at McDonald's recently for that stunt, which obviously says to the cow voters, I'm going to kill and eat you.
He is vehemently anti-cow. That is
exactly
spring anti-cow shit right there.
Theodore says the whiteboard is so funny.
It is a great addition. I'm glad for it. It helps really get the points across.
LOL, which is Leon Leonard.
So you start eliminating certain parts of the cow country votes, is what I'm saying, because she has. And as insightful as Heron was about the fact that Donald, by working at McDonald's, gave just the big double fuck yous to the cow industry because,
Well, I mean, it was
the industry. The cows
McDonald's
themselves.
is like the Hitler to cows. Let's just be honest.
Trump was pandering to the Irish vote because he had to finally go into a place to add a Mick in front of his name. So it's McDonald Trump is how he should be referred to from now on, honestly.
I don't know how I don't know as an Irish American, I don't know how I relate to what you just said. I'm a little triggered right now.
You need to own your relationship with Donald Trump as McDonald Trump. Theodore also says it stands for lots of lemurs. I don't understand that comment, but thank you for participating.
Talking about LOL.
Oh,
well,
thank you, Heron, for being on top of things. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
It's to bring back the references. No, actually, there was a question earlier about is the podcast back forever? Now, Brendan had brought up a concept which is kind of the height of narcissism for us, which is to do watch party reaction shows of old episodes of the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Now, I don't know how that would work. I don't know how that would be set up or why it would be done other than just to truly feed our egos in an incredible way. But yeah, I don't know how that would happen. We would have to do it like perhaps
a podcast
one of the
commentary track.
Yeah, we would have. I think it would have to be done with an audience, and it have to be a mic'd audience, so that and an audience of people who would be interested in this, which would be 2-3 people, maybe. I don't know.
There's no one that would be interested. I'm not even interested in this, and it was my idea.
I'm like, that just reminded me of back when I was in college and we would get stoned and we would record ourselves being stoned. And then we would listen back to it and record ourselves again, listening to ourselves being stoned and just laugh hilariously.
Like, whoa.
Oh, so funny. And I think that's when the car ran into the house. Anyway, but that's a different story.
I don't know if that's the exact execution of it, but there's something. I think we just need to workshop this a little bit more. There's something there. We just need to. I don't know.
I don't know either. But I think maybe we should take this moment to think about it and move on into another set of ads.
Sure, Governor Walz joins me in saying our hearts go out to those innocent people. And I actually think, I agree with you. I think you want to solve this problem, but I don't.
I think all the parents watching tonight, this is your biggest nightmare. Look, I got a 17-year-old and he witnessed a shooting at a community center playing volleyball. I 100% believe that Senator Vance hates it when these kids, it's abhorrent and it breaks your heart. I agree.
Tim, first of all, I didn't know that your 17-year-old witnessed a shooting. I'm sorry about that, and I hope that he's doing okay. Christ have mercy.
This message is brought to you by Midwestern dads just trying to be bros.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
If your seltzer upsets your constitution and the taste is an injustice, if you're looking for the supremest of seltzers, then look no further. Anheuser-Busch brings you SCOTUS Seltzer. With 9 incredible flavors, there's bound to be one you'll just love, whether your tastes run blue or red. You'll give yourself a misdemeanor if you don't try them. There's John Roberts Chocolate Cherry Chip Confirmation, Clarence Thomas Strawberry Collusion, Stephen Breyer's All Natural Vanilla Vice, Samuel Alito's Spumoni Tort, Sonia Sotomayor's Spicy Parole, Elena Kagan and her Pina Colada Filibuster, Neil Gorsuch Maple Waffle Mistrial, Brett Kavanaugh's generic beer flavor with a hint of misconduct, Amy Coney Barrett's Raspberry Inquisition. Put on your legal briefs and grab a cold SCOTUS Seltzer today. Coming soon, Ketanji Brown Jackson and Mint Exasperation. You'll just love it.
Are you tired of your favorite oldies being canceled because of their grossly inappropriate lyrics? Wouldn't it be nice to have a collection of these songs before they're pulled from the internet forever? K-Tet Records proudly presents Cancel Me, Cancel You, featuring such classics as Instant Pussy, Baby It's Cold Outside of My Pants, Statutory Ape, Unchained Felony, Rabbi Jethro and the No Bacon Boys, Kosher Corn Pone, The Funny Uncles, It's Raining Nieces, The Domestic Squabbles, I'll See You in the ICU, The Smashing Bumpkins, Thank Heaven for Little Squirrels, The Occidentals, Ramalama Ching Chong, The Lady Singers with Club Me Caveman, Fresh Little Panties, Old Enough to Bleed, and Michael Jackson, Where the Boys Are. Act now.
Cancel me, cancel you. Ah.
No, but that was some classic Greg. Can we just give a little bit of a, hands up? That was some good classic Greg.
I got a text from Greg during this. He says, "Thanks. I'm still painfully coughing whenever I try to talk. Let me know when it's out." And when I think he means when he knows it's out is the turtle that's stuck in his throat. That's preventing him from participating.
There you go.
We'll let him know when the turtle has left itself.
Big turtle.
Starting to see it.
And when you think about it, we say things like big dairy, big tech. You say big turtle, there's a big turtle holding up the world.
No one wants to talk
sense,
about big
literally.
turtle.
Yeah.
That's the 800-pound
What was the
turtle.
big issue recently? Was like a couple years ago was the straws. Started selling metal straws to save the sea turtles.
All right, I think Heron is hitting the right quotient of alcohol at this point.
Yeah, I think I need a pregame next time.
I'm just saying that Heron is on to something here. I think we need to listen. To the truth.
We've got ears. You know what doesn't have ears? Turtles. They just got holes.
I think this is a perfect opportunity, Brendan, for you to pull out that special question so that we were going to ask Greg, but now we're going to have to ask Heron.
He has an opinion, may not always be right. He's a real fake lawyer. He's old and he's white. Ask him a question, 'cause he's a good egg for bogus advice. Ask Greg. Ask Greg. Ask Greg!
So normally this would be the portion of the show where we would ask Greg a legal question, and he would provide his fake legal advice on this. And because he has been replaced by one of my progeny, Heron, it'll be Ask Heron today. So Brendan, I believe you have the question ready.
Ask away.
And we've gotten a lot of emails over the last number of years, but here's the question. Election related. If a candidate claims they were elected by a secret society of cats, can they legally demand a recount based on feline influence?
That's a good question.
And could you add appropriate nuance to your response as well?
Of course. So, I mean, I think first off, we would have to know if these are American cats, because otherwise, if they're not citizens of the United States, their vote isn't going to count. So that would be the first thing to check.
Well, that's not completely true, because voter ID is not needed for cats.
It is to register to vote.
For illegal cats.
Right. So they need to have their chip installed with the local veterinary office to be able to register to vote. So you would need to check and make sure that, confirm that these votes are from American cat citizens. And so in that case, I think if it were true, you would want to count that vote, check the percentages against whoever he was running against, and then, obviously judge that proportionally to the human votes for the human candidates. If the cat vote was higher proportionately, relative, not necessarily in the actual number, but in the percentage of cats voting for Greg or whoever over the other cat candidate, then I think that would make the cat candidate more legitimate than the human candidate. But the issue then becomes you have to look at the other elections in other species. And we all know where that gets you. You end up with a turtle election.
Wait, I got lost for a second there. How did we get from the cats to the turtles?
Because you start with cats, and the slippery slope is then you have dogs, you have moose, you have elk, you have beavers, you have pig elections, and of course, the turtles are going to want in on it. Turtle election. That's really what it all comes down to. I mean, if you look at the political strategies of both parties, if they're trying to get a cat election, certified, that's just going to lead to a turtle election. It's turtles all the way down. You've got the Republicans, and then on top of that, you have the Freemasons represented by the pillars underneath both of them, the turtle.
Does that answer your question, Brendan?
Yeah, I just really, really hope the person who wrote this email, I hope you're listening, because there's no way I'm going to be able to reply to you with that. So anyway, that's great. I think that'll be fine. I think I'll just say, watch the show. Link. Boop. All right, sent. Thank you,
and Heron, your mother just signed on to YouTube and said, Heron.
Yeah.
Oh, you're seeing the chat now?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It's working now. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's excellent news. It's not a huge amount of interaction. People are laughing there.
Yeah.
Because they cannot laugh with us. They can only laugh at us.
Yes.
As it should be.
The only way to truly laugh is at us, honestly. Please.
What are your predictions, both of you, as to first who you think is going to win? We all know who's going to lose, which is the rest of us, but we know who's going to win is the real question. And how do you think it's going to play out? So I'll give this to Heron first. From your perspective, who's winning? How are they going to win? Where are they getting those electoral votes from? Let's see if we can keep the turtles to the side for the moment and give an assessment from that perspective.
A little more this time, yeah.
I think we're getting a little derivative on the whole turtle thing. I think it's time to move into, I don't know, perhaps the lemur count, as was mentioned earlier, or even three-toed sloth.
I'm gonna throw my hat in that Kamala's gonna win. I'm gonna say that it's gonna be this is just a plus or minus guess, so not exact numbers. I'm gonna say it's going to be between 55-45 and 60-40 in her favor. Um, in terms of electoral votes, I think the popular vote will maybe be a little tighter. So between like 54-46 and 55-45.
So you think she'll have a less of a percentage on the popular vote than the electoral college?
I don't know. Maybe there's a lot
Well,
of
it
psychos
usually
out there.
goes the opposite. I mean, at least for the last few elections, it's been the person who wins the popular vote, a couple of occasions, did not win the election.
Right, like 2016.
Right, and
Yeah.
2008 or 2000, no, 2004, I think. Whenever it was Bush and Al Gore went against each other. So that's a possibility for that. Okay, thank you for your assessment, Heron. Brendan, what's your opinion on this?
Wow. That was thoughtful and organized and less drunk than I thought Aaron was.
I've only had 2 beers.
And he's a big boy.
Yeah, that's true. You do grow up big over there, Matt. So here's the thing that's funny about this election, and it really comes down to this most important distinction. I don't care who wins.
That doesn't matter that you don't care. The idea here is your opinion. We know you don't care already.
Okay, I have the talking stick, so let me finish.
Okay. I have the keep on point stick.
I'm going to keep on point. So my point is that I think that Trump is going to win. Now, do I like Trump? No. Do I like Kamala Harris? No. Do I like either of them? No. Do I think that either of them as a president really matters? Probably not. Since we've had someone as the president who obviously can barely tie his shoes for a long time now, at least months that it's been acknowledged. So if nothing else, we're shown that it doesn't really matter. And marketing wise, I think Trump's got the edge because he's different and people are going to vote different this year. It doesn't make any other sense.
Okay. Well, thank you for that perspective as well. In terms of my opinion, if anybody cares, I am not really sure one way or the other, but I have a gut feeling that Harris is going to win in a landslide. And it's going to be the only way Trump could win is if the Republicans cheat, because I believe that's the only way they know how to win is by cheating. As a matter of fact, somebody said I had to bring up the fact that there was the 2 attempted assassinations on Trump. And according to them, let me see if I can get the exact quote here. Remember, if 2 different people try to kill you, you have to ask yourself, maybe it's me. So
yeah.
So anyway, so that's now taken care of. I think that Trump has just deteriorated his support over the last couple of weeks to the point where he's lost a lot of his base. The fact that there are some leading people in the Republican Party who have decided to support Harris, I think is going to bleed away a lot of that side of the Republican Party support. Then there's also the independents. I think the independents can recognize both sides for who and what they are. You know, as from my perspective, Kamala Harris is a run-of-the-mill politician, you know, cut from the same cloth as most politicians are. Trump is different, but not necessarily in a good way. He's a demagogue. He's uncategorically a bully towards nearly everyone. I saw any opportunity, he will insult the crap out of pretty much anybody. And I don't know that that is welcome anymore, especially when it comes from somebody who's 78 years old, which is the other aspect. And I think that last bit of footage from the last couple of days of him reaching for that garbage truck handle will sway a lot of people that this guy's not going to survive, and we will be stuck with Vance as president when Trump croaks within the first couple of years of office. And I don't think many people want to see that. So that's kind of my perspective on that. I think it'll be a surprise win in terms of how well Harris wins in this particular election. Now, granted, there is one major factor working against her, which is, well, she's a woman. And Americans are notorious for not really caring about women that much. If you just look at, what happened in the whole Roe versus Wade situation. So that is definitely a major point. Then there's, of course, the fact that she's black. And I was watching Trevor Noah earlier today, and he made a point that Obama was level 1 in the Mario's game. He goes, Harris is basically level 3 because not only is she black, she's also Indian and she's a woman. So that's like 3 boss levels ahead that she has to beat to be able to win this particular election. Now, he said it much better than I did, but I was like, I think he has a bit of a point there. And again, we're dealing with America, which, on the surface, we're not racist on the surface. But man, you scratch down past that surface and there's a whole lot of bubbling fear of what's not in my neighborhood. And I think that's a large part of what works against Harris is the fact that some people would not accept a woman like that in their neighborhood. And, many people are not going to hear that, but, that's because they're the ones who are acting that way. So that's my opinion on that. That being said, when we move into the election tomorrow, I know for a fact that regardless of who wins, the government is what gets elected. So as Brendan was saying, Biden could be brain dead. I mean, essentially that's what happened with Woodrow Wilson in his campaign, and not his campaign, but in the final year of Woodrow Wilson's presidency, it was considered that he was actually comatose and his wife was the one who was actually conducting the government business for him. So that's the theory that was going on regarding Woodrow Wilson. Who knows? Maybe Jill Biden is the one behind things right now. She's a lot more lucid than Mr. Biden is. So we shall see. Anyway, I think in terms of this being premature ejaculation, yeah, I think so, because it doesn't matter what we say. It's just going to matter what finally shows up in the next week or so and how many judges are assassinated by people who are upset with their rulings when all of the cases come to pass that somebody is not happy about in terms of whoever wins. So, okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way.
Wow, dude, that was quite a screed, my friend. Holy crap. There's so much to break down in that's a whole different podcast. Not to mention,
and it's all wrong.
You didn't mention the turtles, which is probably the most important part of what we're talking about tonight.
And I realize that it's fine for you two to go into the turtles, but I've always prided myself as not being one who fully goes into the conspiracy theories. So you guys are welcome to that. You can also ride your contrails into the wind at the same time as you watch all of JFK's embodiments reappear as members of CNN. So, but before we go further, there is one last point that has to be made here. One last item.
Oh my God, I can't wait to hear this part. The angry boomer liberal telling us how we should think. Go, please, tell us.
Yes, tell us, boomer liberal.
This is The Last Word with Brendan Haggerty.
Tell us, boomer liberal, the final moment, what you have to say.
It's real simple. It's this. All I care about right now is justice for Peanut. And, a lot of people, I'm sure, have probably heard about Peanut by now. I'm not breaking any ground here on the much maligned but never listened to Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. But the truth is, person was murdered. An animal was murdered at the behest of the government, at the behest of somebody who just said, I don't like this animal because this person has more Instagram followers than I do. And I know I can tell by the look on Matt's face, he's going to have to go down some sort of rabbit hole tonight after this and figure this all
A
out.
squirrel hole specifically.
A squirrel hole, exactly. Thank you. So my point is that two things. Any government that would go into someone's home who literally was rescuing animals and had 1 million followers on social media, steal their animal, take it somewhere else, along with Fred the raccoon. Let's not forget Fred the raccoon. A lot of people overlooked him in the story, but he was a young raccoon. He wasn't even an adult. Both of them were taken away from their family, and when Peanut bit the worker, they had to test for rabies. Do squirrels come with rabies? Not generally. Look it up. Do squirrels transmit rabies to humans? Not generally. Look it up. But yet they decided to kill this animal because that's just part of the process. So this and the fact that, people should put shopping carts back into the shopping cart thing. And I think a good philosophy for any candidate or any person is, would I believe that that person who brought out their shopping cart would take it back to the little bin and be like a decent human being? No one's watching, no one cares. Would they do it? I don't believe either of these candidates would. I believe either one of them would probably, if the reason was right, kill Peanut. And that's why this election is just whatever. That's the last word.
It's fantastic considering I have no idea what you're talking about. So I don't know the story at all about Peanut or Fred, but I do know that your friend Keisha only said, yes, Matt is correct. And that's all I really care about, is that somebody says I'm correct. So that's important. I don't know who I don't know. That depends if you respect that person's opinion or not. And also, Heron, your mother said crickets. What was that, Brennan?
Heron knows what I'm talking about. Heron, you know about Peanut. My God, how could you not know about Peanut?
Tangentially, yeah. I haven't looked at the full story, but I got it through a lot of osmosis. I think what happened to Peanut was wrong. But at the same time, it is worth considering that the area they were in was allegedly, got a lot of rabies in it in that area, and raccoons do tend to carry rabies. But I don't know the full details of the story. I don't know if this was a justified killing of Peanut. At the same time, squirrels only have so many rights. So I don't know if it was an extrajudicial killing necessarily. I think that in regards to how both candidates would handle Peanut's murder, I think that Donald Trump would make a trophy out of dead Peanut, and Kamala Harris would incarcerate Peanut with the death penalty. I think that's the primary difference.
So Peanut is been killed, but would then be incarcerated after being killed.
No, the killing would occur through the incarceration with the death penalty.
Got it. You're saying that Peanut would get shanked
Peanut
by
to
the
the
other
death
animals in the prison.
Potentially, but I just meant more that Kamala would murder Peanut through the death penalty, whereas Trump would just kill Peanut and then make like a little crucified squirrel trophy for like his desk or something.
But here's the thing that most people don't realize, and that is that the animals are on an uprising. There was just in the New York Times just recently, like 100 raccoons descended on this woman. It was in the Pacific Northwest. They took over her home. They were a nuisance. There was an otter, also Pacific Northwest, grabbed a young boy, drug him into the river. I'm saying that possibly
What?
we're at the verge of an animal revolution.
I would
And
I would question that source though.
I think the murder of Peanut is going to incite something that we're not ready for. So be prepared.
Well, we
God
do have all
bless.
that cow country, but I think, it is the New York Times saying it when it happened in the Pacific Northwest. And the New York Times is on completely the other side of the country. So they don't know what happened.
It's a fair point. I don't know. But anyway.
That's the New York
I
End
think-
Times, you mean?
I'm just saying that the death of Peanut and Fred, let's not forget Fred, say his name, is going to be remembered because critters and varmint lives matter. And we've lost track of that in this country.
I think I agree with you there. They matter. They matter especially if you're hungry.
No, that's not. That's a different podcast.
Oh, I suppose it is. I remember back when our mutual friend Mike had traveled across the country and he sent back a copy of Varmint Hunter magazine. And I was like, there's actually a magazine called Varmint Hunter.
Brings a very different meaning to a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
It's like, what is the butter? That sounds like something that should go in Pettix mayonnaise, actually.
Oh,
if it's
too
peanuts
soon.
butter.
Right.
All right. Well, I think a good way to end this particular episode is to let people know we have no idea if we're ever going to do another one. It's a possibility. I mean, Greg missed out because he's dying slowly in his apartment due to various different factors, mainly that which being he doesn't take care of himself. So that's why it's questionable if this will happen again. In terms of watch parties, it's an interesting concept. It's not going to be a popular concept. As far as Heron, we would greatly appreciate you coming on. I'm going to put on every political ad that we created for this podcast before the end, and you can all watch it. But this is basically the end of this particular episode of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker, and hope you all are preparing yourselves to, I don't know, steel yourself for whatever result happens during this election, because you're just not going to be happy with it, no matter who you are, regardless of who gets in there. They all suck. Okay, folks, just remember that. Here we go.
We have been here.
You love us.
Together we've done great things.
You need us.
Our common context is our community.
We love you.
The future is now. The past is forgotten.
We love you. We love you.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Trump, Harris, Vole, Walls. It's a dead heat. Your next president will be here sooner than you think. The next 4 years will be spent regretting your decision, regardless of who you voted for. The election is so tight you can hear it squeak, like a balloon in Dick Cheney's ass, or like a church mouse under the foot of a MAGA bully boy, or the giant liberal head of a progressive who fainted and crushed the little thing. Harris and Trump know they don't have the power in this election. We have the power. We are the Greens. We are the Libertarians. We are whatever the hell RFK Jr. is. Of course we know he dropped out, but he doesn't. We are the other parties, the ones that live in the shadows, the ones that people choose who are afraid to commit to a Republican or Democratic candidate. But at least they can tell their friends they voted. Then their friends will tell them they wasted their vote, and they'd be right because no one wants any loony fringe party candidate to run the country, or even their local municipality for that matter. They can't even make their party significant enough to get federal matching election funds. Oh, sorry. What was I saying? Right. We have the power. Jill Stein of the Greens, Chase Aller of the Libertarians, RFK Jr. of the Planet Bear Carcass / Diapolio / the fuck is he saying?
So, are the most powerful members of the useless third parties. Harris and Trump need our members to make a goddamn decision in every battleground state. They need our indecisive spoiler votes to turn the tide in their direction. If it comes down to 20 votes, we have the power. We can decide whether the fascist or the communist will be president. They think that we are pulling votes away from their candidate. They couldn't be more wrong. If we wanted to vote for their candidate, we would have already. Instead, we care so little for our country, we let the morons of the Republican Party and the nutcases of the Democratic Party make our choices. Why? Well, because we really can't be bothered. So when election day comes, don't vote with your conscience. You know you don't have one. Take that $1 million from the richest and most powerful illegal immigrant / election interferer in the world, Elon Musk, and tell him you voted for Trump after writing in your own name. And remember, we have the power to go, paid for by the coalition of coalitions and formed coalitions to create coalitions, PAC, Super PAC, and committee to re-elect Adlai Stevenson. This will sell the shark in the light. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sure, Governor Walz joins me in saying our hearts go out to those innocent people. And I actually think, I agree with you. I think you want to solve this problem, but I don't.
I think all the parents watching tonight, this is just your biggest nightmare. Look, I got a 17-year-old, and he witnessed a shooting at a community center playing volleyball. I 100% believe that Senator Vance hates it when these kids, it's abhorrent and it breaks your heart. I agree.
Tim, first of all, I didn't know that your 17-year-old witnessed a shooting. I'm sorry about that, and I hope that you're doing okay. Christ have mercy.
This message is brought to you by Midwestern Dads, just trying to be bros.
If Kamala Harris can switch from Indian to black at will, who's to say what she'll turn into next? A Haitian immigrant with an insatiable hunger for cat meat, hunting down our beloved pets? A mean witch who wants to lure us all into her stew pot with the promise of Turkish delight? A xenomorph with acid blood and an inner set of steel-rending jaws? A Mexican chupacabra who wants to bring drugs and take jobs from hard-working American chupacabras? A trans man? If you vote for Kamala Harris on November 5th, you won't even know who you're voting for. Say no to shapeshifters. Say no to Kamala Harris. Say yes to Donald Trump and his testicles and Arnold Palmer's enormous freedom.
In 2024, Miley Cyrus, Beyonce, Bruce Springsteen, Lana Del Rey, the corpse of David Bowie, and every member of Radiohead, except for the drummer, have all come out in support of Kamala Harris's presidential campaign, and she's been endorsed by the staffs of Rolling Stone, Pitchfork, and the consolidated Spotify playlist makers Local Number 47. Who's supporting Donald Trump? Ted Nugent, Kid Rock, Toby Keith, C.S. Lewis Jr., Chachi, the surviving members of Lynyrd Skynyrd, the deceased members of Lynyrd Skynyrd, Gino Vanelli, Peter Lemongello, and the entire membership of the Chicago Bears Shefflin crew. He has also received editorial endorsements from Guns N' Ammo, Cat Fancy, and Cross Stitch Quarterly. A vote for Donald Trump isn't just a vote for fascism, it's a vote for being lame. Don't be lame. Vote for Kamala Harris.
New from Just Bjorn Incorporated, to commemorate his recent purchase of Twitter and the potential reinstatement of hate speech, neo-fascist, Charles Manson, and Trump Twitter accounts, we bring you Elon Musk-shaped Pleeps. Everyone loves Pleeps at Easter and holidays throughout the year, but because of this very momentous occasion, we felt it right to honor everyone's favorite South African mega mogul with squishy sweet treats in the shape of his bulbous head. We even added googly eyes. There's nothing sweeter. Now, when you sit down in your cushy pre-owned Tesla while dreaming of flying to the moon and SpaceX, as you wonder if Racer X was involved, you can plop some pleeps in your mouth and imagine Musk's thoughts seeping into your own while they dissolve and you dreamily type your newest pro-Putin rants. Plop a pleep today! Coming soon, anxiety and depression flavored pleeps.
The end is upon us. You've retreated to the warm, safe, but slightly musty bunker. You have food, water, board games, and a loaded gun just in case. But wait, you forgot a key factor. Well, maybe a couple of factors. Not one, but in fact, number two. That's right, poop. What are you going to do with all that poop? Sure, you could break it down, dig a hole. What's the fun in that? That is why the good folks at Spunko have brought you the Poopinator 3000 Easy Craftomatic. That's right, you will take your fresh poop and turn it into healthy, nutrient-dense, vegan, gluten-free, pro-keto, gender-neutral snack bars. Why just eat something once when you can eat it again? Plus, the kids simply go wild for Poopinator's poop bars. Don't forget to stock up on our patented Flavo spread, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, and Four Loko. Poop bars have all the vitality and nutritional value of those pre-apocalyptic bars you currently shove in your kid's face each morning as a meal replacement or add to their lunch box as a fun treat. But our poop, or should I say your poop bars, won't cost you $9 a box. So remember, once you're in the bunker, you still have shit to deal with. Why not feed it to your kids? Poop bars. They're made from poop.
Oh,
okay. Since I'm from Portland, Oregon, Brendan, I do have to correct you, and it's not exactly vegan. If it's coming out of a human body,
it's not plant-based.
It's not plant-based. No, definitely not.
But I'll bring it up to the client that you're protesting that their product isn't vegan.
It's not vegan.
In Manhattan, New York, a retail store sells only M&M candies. No Necco wafers, no Charleston shoes, not even a Lickum stick. In Atlanta, Georgia, a highly intelligent neurosurgeon refuses to eat bacon because it caused trichinosis in people who lived before the invention of refrigeration. Hi, this is Sydney Rosenthal, and I'd like to invite you to listen to my new podcast, Baffling Conundrums. Each week, I will explore the mildly perplexing and the strangely befuddling world in which we live. Here are a few more stories that will fill you with quandary. In Terre Haute, Indiana, a gay bar hasn't played one good song in over 17 years. In Hollywood, California, a movie producer greenlights an $80 million film based on a board game that no one plays anymore, and without a good script. In Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, a young soldier rams a pork sausage up the rectal cavity of a hooded prisoner held without trial, and he is commended by his superiors for this. So please join me every week as we enter the world of baffling conundrums.
Takes us way back.
I don't think those guests appreciated that comedy as much as they should have, judging by the look on their basic white bitch faces.
And anyway, I want to thank Heron for filling in for Greg. Excellent substitute. You brought us into the full well of turtle culture. And so thank you for that. You definitely helped Brendan out with his lizard theories. So I think that was important. That's right. Thanks for having me. This is what I had to do on my day off. I had to make my dad happy. Let's see if we have any extra things from YouTube other than Theodore saying, "Hi, Mom." And then Brendan, what does your shirt say? That's a question that is on YouTube for you, Brendan. I support the current thing. That shirt is obviously a lie because Brendan supports nothing.
True.
Except supporting people who sell merch. I think that's who he actually does support. He supports people individually, just not as a general thing. That's what I think is the
Not
case.
as a general thing, but individually, yes. Especially my clients.
Exactly. Yes, and if any of Brendan's clients are watching this, just pretend like he never said anything.
Please don't watch this. Pretend I wasn't here. This is not Brendan Haggerty that works for you. Promise.
It wasn't me. All right, Heron, any last things you'd like to say before we turn the recording off?
No.
Okay,
Just
Brendan.
remember to vote. You got one day.
That's right, vote, people. And when we say people, we mean everybody outside of all of the red and the green states. I mean, the red and the green? I don't even know where the green states are.
Do we need to go back to the cow map? I mean,
so we
if
just
you're in a
want
cow zone. The truth is, if you live here in Portland, you're good.
if you're in a cow zone, you really need to get out of that restaurant.
You got to get busy. If you're in a cow zone, get busy. If you live here, probably the person you want to win, they're going to get all your electoral college votes. So it's all these cow country people that we have to worry about.
The cow country people.
Cows.
Anyway, thank you all for putting up with us one more time. You know, it's possible we could do another episode. Hard to say. But I totally forgot to do this to end things off appropriately. Why was I not thinking? Jeez.
You're doing wrong, sir.
I've been doing wrong all night long. Where is the thingy? Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay. That, then this, and then we hit that.
Your consultation with the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker has ended. You may pay your retainer at www.qsblaw.org. Please exit to the right of the water cooler and grab a candy from the front desk. We hope to see you again soon, but you need to leave now. I said leave. Why don't they ever listen? Get out! Get out!